Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. It's that time of the weekend. It's Premier League predictions time. Another round of Premier League fixtures is almost upon us. A bit reduced this week because of the FA Cup semi-final games that are taking place as well. But there is still plenty of football to feast our eyes upon and to sink our teeth into this weekend, as the round of Premier League fixtures will affect, of course, the entirety of the Premier League table. We are counting down the games till the end of the season. Most teams are down to 6, some teams are down to 5, some teams may still have 7. But overall, this is where we talk about these kinds of games coming up. This is where we analyse them and, of course, give predictions on how I think each and every single game will go this weekend. The FA Cup games are coming up. Stay tuned to the channel. We'll have, obviously, predictions of those games coming up later on in the week, so look out for that. But without further ado, let's talk about the Premier League fixtures that are coming up this weekend. Before we go into all of that, though, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always incredibly greatly appreciated. Also, get involved in the comment section, people. Let me know your thoughts, your comments, but most of all, your opinions and predictions. This is a Premier League predictions video after all, people. So please do get involved with your predictions down below. It would be great to hear from you all. But like I say, without further ado, let's get on with the video. Let's start with we're looking at the games, and first and foremost, we have got Saturday, 3 o'clock, live from Kenilworth Road, Luton Town taking on Brentford. Now, this is a bottom of the table kind of clash. This is a big game for both of these sides. Luton definitely need points on the board. They are currently in the drop zone. And are currently in big danger. Brentford just need to put a few more points between themselves and the drop zone to really survive. I've gone with a 1-1 draw for this one. I could see this game going any which way, to be honest. We know that Luton at home can be difficult opposition for most teams. We know that on their day, Brentford can blow most teams out of the water. It really could go any which way. I've called it down the middle. I think Luton will get something from this game. I think that they'll obviously put another point towards their survival bid. But like I say, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult for both of these sides to achieve a win in this one. So I've called it down the middle. I'm not 100% confident with this one, but I reckon it could be a very intriguing game just simply for the reason of the context of it being near the bottom of the table. You've got Luton and the direct kind of nature that they play. You've got Brentford and the sort of direct nature that they play. It could be a very entertaining game, this one, albeit considering that they are both near the drop zone. So, interesting game, I think, lies ahead in this one. I've gone with a 1-1 draw overall, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these two teams was to go on and win the game overall. So 1-1 here is what I've gone for. Next up, we are looking at Sheffield United against Burnley, and I've gone with a 2-1 win to Burnley. Sheffield United will still survive this weekend, even with a defeat here. But of course, that reduces that possibility down to potentially one more game after this before their fate is seemingly sealed. They are down, in my opinion. Burnley are putting a bit of resilience up right now. They're getting a few points here and there. So it's incredible to see how they're battling. I think they'll get a win here to put towards their survival bid. I still don't see it being enough. I still think they are down, but they definitely need to win this game to stand any chance of maybe some sort of great escape kind of scenario. I think they will get this victory. I think it will be a massive relegation 6-pointer for them, almost. But yeah, I think Sheffield United are pretty much down. We just need to obviously confirm it. Which won't happen this weekend, regardless of the way the results go. But could obviously happen next weekend. Or over the course of the coming week or so, depending on obviously the results of then and then. But yeah, massive week for Sheffield United, massive week for Burnley as well. I've gone with Burnley to win, Vincent Kompany's side to get the win in this huge relegation battle. I expect them to be on the front foot, dominate, and obviously Chris Wilder's side to try and counter-attack whatever Burnley are going to throw at them. But I think Burnley will have enough about them to get the job done. Not probably the best Premier League encounter you're going to see this weekend. A very nervy relegation battle, I think, will play out at Bramall Lane, but at the same time, it will still be a massive game in the context of both of these two seasons in terms of a relegation battle. Of course, I think Sheffield United with a win could possibly drag Burnley down with them much sooner than obviously expected. But at the same time, I still would back Burnley to get the job done in this one. So Burnley to win by 2-1 is what I've gone for here. Moving on, Saturday's evening game, we're at Molineux for Wolves against Arsenal, and you've got an Arsenal side here who will be looking to bounce back from last week's defeat against Aston Villa and get their Premier League title charge back on track. Now, of course, midweek, I'm recording this before the game against Bayern Munich, so Arsenal could either still be in or be completely knocked out of the Champions League by the time that this game comes around. I'm recording it before the big Champions League night for the Gunners, so it could be a very interesting night there. But I've gone with Arsenal to bounce back here, and I've gone with 2-1. Now, I've been heavily debating this because I know that Wolves, especially when Wolves are at home, can be a thorn in the side of most teams. So with that being said and that being considered, I was debating whether or not to put Arsenal to drop points here. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked in this kind of scenario if Arsenal did drop points here. I think they'll bounce back because I think they dropped points sooner than I was expecting against Aston Villa. I don't think anybody was really expecting the Aston Villa result last week, even though Aston Villa have been decent for large parts of the season. I wouldn't be shocked if they dropped more points here. I genuinely wouldn't. I think with the pressure of the game, I think with the added pressure of them losing last week, I think with the added on game time that those players would have suffered with, obviously midweek against Bayern Munich, I genuinely think Wolves could definitely fancy their chances of getting something from this game. We've seen them time and time again stop teams, or at least for the moment at least neutralise teams that are considered the big boys in the division, and they've given some of the big teams a run for their money. I wouldn't be shocked if Wolves get something from this game, but I think Arsenal's individual quality will shine through. They'll find that grit, resilience, and I don't think they'll make the same mistake twice that they did against Aston Villa, in which they started off strong and faded. I think they will kill the game off at 2-0, and Wolves will get a goal later on in the game. But like I say, Wolves are no pushovers. They cannot be overlooked. They cannot be seen as easy prey, because if they think the game is won before a ball is even kicked, Arsenal, that will be Arsenal's downfall yet again, and they will slip up yet again. This is a banana skin waiting to happen, but I've gone with the favourites, and I've gone with Arsenal to get the job done on a Saturday night. Next up, moving on to Sunday's games, and first and foremost, we are at Goodison Park for another big relegation clash between Everton and Nottingham Forest. I've gone with a 1-1 draw for this one. Everton will want a response, and a big response at that, from the heavy 6-0 defeat against Chelsea. That had took place on, of course, Monday night. Forest would want to put more points between themselves and Premier League safety. Depending on how this hearing will go, that's going to start, I believe, next week, in regards to the 4 points that were deducted from Nottingham Forest. Obviously, anything can happen in this kind of situation, and depending on how much of an example they want to make out of Nottingham Forest, it could obviously lead to things easing a little bit for Forest, or it could make things a bit worse, or it could stay the same. We'll obviously have to wait and see on how that goes. But overall, they can only do what's on the pitch, and obviously with Luton Town facing Brentford, it'll be Luton's opportunity to put pressure on Forest in this one, and obviously pressure on Everton as well simultaneously. It could be a massive opportunity for one of these two sides to really leave the other one down in that kind of relegation battle, whilst the other one puts a little bit more breathing space between themselves and the drop zone. But again, I don't see either side helping themselves, and that's why I've gone with a draw here. It very well could be one of these two sides win again. It's going to be a very difficult battle. It's going to be a very nervy relegation battle that I don't think is going to be full of much quality, but could be very intriguing to watch simply for the reason of the context of the relegation battle that this game is going to provide. Very similar to how I think the Burnley Sheffield United game will go at Bramall Lane. So it could be a very interesting one, this one, for all the relegation battling reasons. Either of these two sides could go on and win it, but I am going to call it down the middle. I'm going to say it's a draw, and I'm going to go 1-1 come the final whistle. So we'll see, obviously, how that goes there. Next up, we've got Aston Villa against Bournemouth, and I've gone with an Aston Villa 2-1 win. Aston Villa picked up a huge 2-0 victory against Arsenal last week, a result that not many people were expecting. And with them chasing Champions League football, with them obviously now putting themselves in a bit of a driving seat position, they have another opportunity here, with Spurs not playing this weekend, to really drive home that advantage. And with obviously Spurs having a heavy run-in, a difficult run-in, between now and the end of the season, in which they've still got to play the 3 title-chasing teams, it could be a very big opportunity for Aston Villa to put a bit of space between themselves and Postecoglou's side, starting with Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth are no pushovers. Bournemouth have been very good for large parts of the season. They've also been very bad for parts of the season as well. They concede stupid goals at times, but they also play some nice football from time to time. They picked up a decent 2-2 draw against Manchester United last week. They'll be bitterly disappointed and a bit annoyed that it wasn't more. But against Aston Villa, who at home are such a strong force, I think and believe Aston Villa will get the job done. I think Villa will get the win, and they'll put that daylight between themselves and Spurs. So I've gone with 2-1 to Aston Villa. Wouldn't be surprised or totally shocked if Bournemouth did get a draw from this game, managed to grind a point out from this game. But at the same time, I still think Villa, especially when you consider as well that Villa have also got Europa Conference League commitments midweek, maybe that could also play a factor into this game, in which the extra legs might work in Bournemouth's favour. So it could be interesting. It could be a very interesting watch between these two sides. I imagine it might actually be a very underrated game to go ahead this weekend. But at the same time, I still think Aston Villa, with maybe the firepower that they have, may just have the edge over Bournemouth in that particular department, which may give them the 3 points in the end. So I've gone with Aston Villa to win. Wouldn't be surprised if a draw was on the cards, but I would expect Unai Emery's side to continue towards their Champions League pursuit for next season. Our penultimate game on this list comes from Selhurst Park, and you've got Crystal Palace taking on West Ham. Big London derby, this one. Palace obviously riding high off of the fact that the 1-0 victory that they managed to secure over Liverpool at Anfield last week, still obviously in the back of their minds against the West Ham side, who are looking to bounce back from last week. Now again, West Ham have Europa League commitments against Bayer Leverkusen midweek. It's not looking good for the Hammers in that game, but if they decide to throw caution to the wind, that could obviously take its toll on their Premier League form. Or do they just ditch the Europa League and go for the Premier League and see if they can finish as high at the table as possible? It could be a very interesting dilemma for David Moyes' side, but they are on for a quite a decent finish in the Premier League this season, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of mindset David Moyes is in this week. They come up against the Palace side, who have had a bit of a mediocre start to life under their new manager Oliver Glasner. Last week was a particular high moment, securing a 1-0 victory over title-chasing Liverpool. It wasn't exactly pretty at times, and they rode their luck at times, but it was a very good victory nonetheless. Now, I'm kind of expecting a bit of a reality check here, and I was debating whether or not to put a West Ham win. However, Palace being at home, it could be a bit awkward for West Ham. The extra minutes in the legs of those players obviously might help Crystal Palace's cause as well. So that's why I have gone with a draw. That's why I've gone with 1-1. It could genuinely be any which way, but again, I've gone with a draw. I've gone down the middle, and I think both teams will be forced to share the points. So 1-1 is what I've gone for here, but I'm expecting a very fiery London derby, to say the least. And finally, in what I believe to be the biggest game of this round of fixtures, the biggest highlight, the main event of this round of Premier League fixtures, we are at Craven Cottage for Fulham against Liverpool. And Jesus Christ, I've gone with a 2-1 Liverpool win, but this is the least confident I have been in Liverpool all season long. Midweek, we have to go to Atalanta, and we have to try and overturn a 3-0 deficit. Not happening in my opinion. I personally think we are out of the Europa League. I hope I am wrong. I hope I am to stand corrected on that, and I'm hoping we are able to perform one of those miraculous European nights that Liverpool are so famous for. Usually at home, but this time we have to obviously do it away on Italian soil, which has never been too kind for those in red. But then we have to move on to a tricky encounter with Fulham at Craven Cottage. Now, Fulham are an interesting and weird bag this season, where we don't really know what to expect. And I personally don't know what to expect. Some weeks they can be very good. Some weeks they can be very difficult and very, very, very poor. I'm looking at this situation, and I'm saying a Liverpool 2-1 win just to grind out a result. But I have never been less confident in this side this season. We haven't played particularly well these past few weeks. Results have shown that in all competitions, Premier League or Europa League. You can throw in the FA Cup there as well if you want. And I'm hoping that obviously we actually get on the score sheet this time around. I'm hoping we get on the score sheet this time around. And I'm hoping overall we pick up a win. I'm hoping overall we pick up a win to really put pressure on the likes of Arsenal and Manchester City. City, of course, not playing this week, so it's a big opportunity for Liverpool to take advantage of that potentially. And especially with going into a huge Merseyside derby midweek, it will obviously give us a bit of momentum going into that one. But we need to bounce back, and we need to bounce back in a big way. I hope that we've got a performance in us away from home to really put Fulham to the sword. But like I say, Fulham can be tricky opposition. Fulham can be difficult at times. And Fulham will certainly fancy their chances against the Liverpool side that haven't been performing well as of late. Obviously chasing the title, so the onus is on us to go out there and take the game to Fulham away from home, of course. I honestly don't know what to expect from Fulham. I'm hoping they're in the kind of mood to just lie down and just let us pass kind of thing. But at the same time, I think they'll fancy their chances, and I think they'll put up a really big fight. And it's going to be something that is going to make for an interesting game. It's going to be an intriguing game. It's going to be a difficult game. I think it's going to be a lot more of a difficult game than what most people are giving this game credit for. I think most people see this game as a Liverpool win, and that's the foregone conclusion that they've come to. But this is anything but a foregone conclusion. This is genuinely a tricky game, a difficult game that I think Liverpool will have to be will have to keep their focus on, keep their eye on, in order to progress. But it is a very good opportunity for Liverpool to put a bit of pressure on Arsenal, put a bit of pressure on Manchester City, who of course don't play this weekend in the Premier League, that is. So it could be a very intriguing game. It could be an interesting game. One that I'm hoping, praying and expecting Liverpool to win. But at the same time, like I say, I've never been this unconfident of Liverpool this season with the way that we've been these past couple of weeks. So I'm hoping I'm being proved wrong. I'm hoping that Liverpool go on and win the game. It's going to be your typical sort of Liverpool dominating possession and Fulham trying to hit on the counter-attack, which they have the potential to do so. Look out for Bobby Decordova-Reid if he's fit and playing, because he seems to always score against Liverpool regardless. So if you're maybe a gambling person, maybe putting a bit of a shout on him scoring this weekend might not be a bad shout. Otherwise, yeah, it could be a very, very interesting battle on Sunday afternoon. One that I'm hoping Liverpool come out of with flying colours, but again, I'm not confident. I've gone 2-1 to the Reds, 2-1 to Jurgen Klopp's side to keep the Premier League title dream alive. But again, I am not entirely confident by this. So take this for whatever it's worth. I'm hoping that Liverpool bounce back. I'm hoping they'll probably need to have to be knocked out officially of the Europa League, but and to obviously keep their Premier League dream alive. But like I say, I'm not completely confident, and I think this could be a very tricky game for the Reds to navigate through. Otherwise, those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this this round of Premier League fixtures? What are your thoughts, comments, opinions? But most of all, of course, what are your predictions on how you think each and every single game will go this weekend? Let me know in the comments section. All of that good stuff. But mainly, of course, your predictions. This is a Premier League predictions show after all, people. So please do get involved with them down below. Would love to hear from you all. I'm sure it'll make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And of course, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Premier League predictions video, and I've seen this video all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night and day or whatever, wherever you are, whatever this is, wherever you're watching from. And I'll see you all again very, very soon.